Year 8. Back to health for another week. Today we're going to talk about respectful relationships and a bit about communicating. So let's get stuck into it. Okay, so respectful relationships. So what does that look like? A respectful relationship is one in which all members feel safe, they're treated with fairness, they're valued, they can make mistakes and learn and feel safe in making those mistakes and feel accepted. So relationships that make you feel scared or feel like it's more one-sided, or where you can't make mistakes, or you're going to get in trouble, or you're just going to feel really small, then they're not respectful relationships. And we all know what that sort of feels like. And obviously we're trying to maintain and create healthy relationships. So the importance of these: they contribute to personal growth and maturity. They allow healthy self-expression, and your self-esteem will feel really good as well throughout this. They improve your communication skills, and that you also learn to develop conflict resolution skills. So, if you're having a disagreement or you've got different beliefs about a particular topic, then that's okay. And it's a way of learning how to respectfully listen and to think about someone else's point of view without actually compromising your own thoughts and values as well. And you can strengthen your sense of belonging and value and increase appreciation of diversity. Now, often these respectful relationships begin at home with family. And I guess that's a good place for developing a good, healthy grounding, unless you have difficulties, I guess, in your home as well. And sometimes, there's all sorts of different reasons why we don't develop good communication skills or good, respectful relationships, because it wasn't modeled well to us. But, there's usually someone in your life that you can kind of go, you know what, I really respect that person, and they seem to have a good, healthy way of dealing with people. And it might be a teacher, it might be someone at church, and that's always good to hold on to. So communication skills, this is what we do on a daily basis. How we communicate with each other, how we are able to talk and listen, because obviously in order to communicate with another human being, we have to be able to listen as well. So they're essential to maintaining a respectful relationship, whether it's a friendship, whether it's a parent-child relationship, whether one day down the track you're dating, whether it's a romantic relationship. We need to learn about communication. And it involves more than simply just talking and listening. A lot of it is about voice inflection. So as you'll know just then, my voice went up as I was trying to make a point about something. Tone, like if I was to talk to you and go, good communication skills are really the most important thing in life, I don't think you'd want to listen to me like that. Facial expressions are really important. Whereas if I'm just kind of talking like this all the time, and it's not very fun. I use my hands a lot to talk. A lot of people do. So body language and gestures are all important parts of communicating as well. Now, down the bottom of the PowerPoint, it actually talks about completing this sheet of comparing communication methods. And I will get you to do that. It's going to be there on Schoology for you, but we'll just keep going with this so you understand a little bit more. So, when we get back to school next week, it might be fun for us to do some little role plays about how to communicate using different types of gestures and body language, and using tone and using our voice inflections to just kind of demonstrate what's a really good way to communicate, what's a way that just is not going to work very well. So we can have some fun with that next week. Social skills to interact with others. We interpret others' thoughts and feelings. So by looking at a person's face, we can often see if they're happy, or they're really sad, or they're looking a bit depressed. So we can talk about that. Certain people have difficulty reading other people's facial expressions. And there's reasons for that. But the other part of social skills here is controlling our own emotions and behaviors. And this may be something that's kind of going to be quite difficult in the next few weeks, because we're not used to being so socially connected, because we've been at home for months, and it can be exhausting having to talk and listen and take in all this information. So just take note of how your own stress levels are going. And, you know, if needed, we can ask for a little break as we go about our day. We can just take some time to take some deep breaths. Another really important thing is to demonstrate empathy towards others, where we can feel with that person how they're going. So not just going, oh, sorry, you're feeling sad, but it might be, oh, I remember a time when I felt like that, and it's really tough, isn't it? And it helps the other person feel validated. So we'll talk a little bit more about that when we're back together. Negotiation and conflict resolution skills, the same. We'll work into these a little bit more as the weeks go on. Understanding unspoken social rules. So like an unspoken social rule might be that it's good to look at people in the eyes when you're looking at them. I remember my daughter finding this really hard to understand. She's got autism, and she was just like, but I don't like looking at people. It makes me feel really uncomfortable. And eventually we kind of managed to get her to be able to look in between people's eyes, and that made her feel comfortable. People thought that she was looking at them in the eyes. And it's just one of those things that help people feel like you're paying attention and that you're interested in them. So another really good one is to treat people as you would like to be treated. But we can talk about social rules and social skills a little bit more as we move on. So is there a different set of communication and social skills required face-to-face versus online? And this is something that that's part of your little activity today, is to think about that. But also we'll do that a bit more when we're together, because we can have some conversations around this as well. And is there a difference between etiquette and netiquette? Netiquette, I'm assuming you would understand that as being on the net, so on the internet, and etiquette is just having good manners. So let's pop out of that and I'll show you your worksheet that you're going to be doing. So it's here, it's called Comparing Communication Methods. So now that we've looked at the PowerPoint, so you need to compare characteristics of face-to-face and online communication. So differences in language, like face-to-face, you can even do this, like talk in whole sentences. Online, you might use more abbreviations. So things like that. Conveying emotions, you might just use emojis. And here you might actually talk through what those emotions actually are. You know, I was feeling really excited the other day. You know, I was at I don't know what you were doing. You know, or I'm really looking forward to going shopping with my friends on the weekend, and I can't wait. Whereas here you might just do a couple of emojis of, you know, clothes and happy faces. Speed of reply, obviously it's pretty instant online, but also if we're doing face-to-face it is, but you have to actually go and meet up with this person, don't you? So the next little activity is to draw a little cartoon that shows unsuccessful communication. So when communication doesn't go well, and annotate it to explain the issues in that and why that's unsuccessful. So that could be a fun little thing to do. And then this one here is to identify emotions being conveyed in the following online statements. So use text speak. So if you were to text someone a response, write that down here. So the emoticons that you would use for each statement and the way emotions are being conveyed obvious to the reader. So we're having nachos for dinner. What would you put in here? So emotions, it might be a happy one or yip hip hooray. You might be feeling happy. You might be wanting to write here nachos dinner, or you might just use all emojis. So if you're going to my nana's or my grandma's house for the weekend, what would you do? If someone wanted to say, stop texting me, I need to sleep, what emotions might you be feeling? and then rewrite what you would actually text someone. And the last one is to identify factors that cause misunderstandings during online communication and explain how these can impact online relationships. So, and it's the same when we text someone, which I guess is an online communication. Often people misinterpret things because they can't hear your tone. They can't hear your inflections. They can't see your body language. They can't see your facial expressions. These things really can impact, and people can take things right out of context and take it quite personally and can be quite hurt from it. So that's just something to have a bit of a think about and have a little conversation with me and to explain what your thoughts are around that. All right, so look forward to being able to communicate face-to-face with you, because I think we're all getting a bit sick of this, but it will be so good to see you next week. I saw a few of you in food today, which was amazing. It's so good to see you. And as I said to them, I just wanted to give you all a big hug because I haven't seen you for so long. So really looking forward to having you in class next week, and enjoy your long weekend and rest up, and hopefully the sun will be out and you can enjoy your time together. All right, bye.